the minimum and maximums for the day. I don't know if you can see that. And the current, you just press these and it resets itself, and then it'll show you the maximum it got in the greenhouse that day. All right, if you think that was painful to watch, you should have been doing it. It was painful to do. So welcome back to the channel. I Know Enough to Be Dangerous Farm. My name is Rob, and today we're in the newest of our greenhouses, new to us greenhouse, and we're finally getting to setting up the irrigation. We have the tank, we got the fittings to come in to our pump here. It's from the harbor store, but it's the most affordable. You get the extended warranty. You could have a pump for 3 or 4 years brand new. Anyways, so one of the things we got to set up is we have to set up, we have our power here, our pump. I'm not sure whether it's going to be on top of this or on the ground. We need to do something else with the hose, and this seems to be in the wrong place. So I think we're going to move it here because we're going to build a wall here, just because there will be overhead sprinklers here, and I don't want it getting, there'll be a water controller and some valves, and the electric pump will be over here, probably on the ground, to get it off of this. So we need something to stop any water, and I just don't want a rain curtain here. This greenhouse looks pretty nice, and I want to keep it professional looking. So we have some leftover treated lumber. We're gonna make a little wall and then screw everything to the wall. And then this side, we could put like the thermometer and stuff on this side, and maybe some, I don't know what we'll do on this side, but this side will be kind of like a utility corner here. So that's what we're gonna do. This is kind of a neat little thermometer. It shows you the minimum and maximums for the day. I don't know if you can see that. And the current, you just press these and it resets itself, and then it'll show you the maximum it got in the greenhouse that day, the minimum it got in the greenhouse that day, and it shows the current temperature. So it's kind of cool. We need to move this because this is where the wall is going to be, and we need to have this on this side of this wall. We'll probably cut that off and make it a little shorter once the wall's in. Might need that. There's my interior screws that I told you not to use. We'll just pin that right there, just keep it out of our way so we don't break anything. So welcome back. We've got some progress here to update you on. I didn't bore you with another pump install, but here's the pump. Made a little shelf so it sits on top of this tote. I think it'll keep it out of the water more, and we'll tie it in right over the top there. But I used galvanized back to plastic. It's a black poly. And then to make this bend here, I didn't have a 90, so I'm going to try some fuel line right here to the valve. This is the wall that we built basically just as a rain curtain, because there's going to be a sprinkler head right there, and I didn't want it to get this whole area all wet. Originally I thought everything was going to bolt down here, that's why that's there, but I had to make a new shelf up here because the pump was going to be on the ground on a pallet, and then it turns this into a cluster, you know what, so I put it up here, and I think it's going to be better. I can read the gauge. I'll be able to read the gauge on the side, and everything's up out of the way. I can change the filter better, and I'll start. We're just going to put one valve in here for now. That's all we need. And then I put a T here so we can extend the manifold. And then I got to get a reducer. I'm going to put a little pressure gauge here, so it'll come in here from the filter and then go up top to the sprinkler heads. So that's what we're going with. That's what we have right now. Found this check valve. It's probably laying on the ground for a reason. I'm going to try it without a check valve, see if it keeps losing prime, but it does say recommend use with a check valve, so I got to get a new check valve. But that's what we have so far. I got to get this fuel hose on that filter, and I'm going to try to do it here. If it kinks, I'll have to get a 90 or go something or do something different. But I tried to get it on this hose barb already, and it just did not want to go. So I'm going to try either some heat or some soap, and I think I'm going to take it. I think I'm going to take it off here, just so little work with. This is poly pipe, and it's a little cold this morning, so she's not too poly right now. So I'm going to try the heat first. Keep it away from your plastic on your greenhouse. Nothing like a little burning rubber in the morning. Maybe try both. Just a little cheap dish soap. Now I got burning rubber smell and hot soap smell. So we're doing good. Oh my gosh. Whew, that does stink. There we go. Whew, definitely not gonna come off. Famous last words. There we go. How about that? That don't look too bad. Whew. Alright, I'm gonna put it over here. Just, I did find my tubing cover. I can get a little bit more room. There we go. I'll have to get some old school worm clamps, because these crimp clamps, the 1 inch is too big for this stuff, and the 3/4 is not big enough. So I can put this on now because I'm very impatient. And a little more soap. Oh, I guess I didn't tighten this. There. How about that? It's like I forgot to tighten this up, so I'll do it now before I put the clamp on it. Okay. Here. I think I'm going to put a valve up here again to reduce the pressure going to the sprinkler heads, because otherwise I don't have any way to do that. Oh. Okay. All right, so we'll bring that down from the top right into here. And then, like I said, we'll take this plug off and continue the manifold, but for now, we'll just put pressure gauge in there. And we'll be able to work with this. We'll just take this off and bring it out. And that's another good thing about this fuel line. Flexible. Tighten this a little before it's all. I'm supposed to have those reducers here in the next couple days, so I'm not going to worry about Teflon tape on this. Okay. So I move the hose over here so it's a little bit easier. This one is just the regular garden hose, and this green one, is to fill the tank when I need it. All right. Kind of wish that was a 90, but what are you gonna do? So now we'll start on the inlet side of the pump. What has happened to my Teflon? Good grief. What a mess. Not much room for wrenches over here. So this is plastic on this thin pump wall stuff, so it's, you know, again, don't give it the grapes, but you'll be able to turn it. If there's a little leak here, we'd be able to turn it a little bit more even with the hose on. Let's see if I can get this hose on. Again, this is fuel line, fuel hose. It's how thick it is, but it's really flexible and kind of easy to use if you're not trying to get it on a hose barb, which this is a hose barb, hence the name. See the little barbs there? Looks like I had to cut this off. Looks like I had to split this to cut it, to get it to come off, so we'll give it a fresh cut. Go below that. See, that cuts in there, and turn it just a little bit. Turn it just a little bit, and cuts nice and clean. A little soap. Don't need much. Too much would just be a mess. So send it right up to the collar there. There. Well, the 90 coming out and coming up here. So this kind of fits like this. Kind of in the way of the hose, huh? Guess it'll do that. That's not too bad. We'll zip tie it to this once we get it on. Alright, I kind of like that. So I did make that piece, I just must be in the truck. So I'm back in my new little home here. So I got this up here, we still need a clamp, and now we're going to hook the bottom up. And what I've come up with and what I've used on the other tank is Fernco, and it's a Fernco reducer. I don't know what they're really called, but I call them Ferncos. That might be a name brand, but it fits right over this valve They do make adapters, but I bought four different adapters, and none of them work on these tanks that I have. So there's not enough suction power here to collapse this. It's not in the sunlight, so it should be fine. I'm just going to put a 90 on this, which I had somewhere. So this is what I've come up with. I know I'm going back and forth from metal to plastic to PVC to all sorts of stuff, but we kind of have to have this one waterproof, otherwise the tank will slowly leak out. We don't want that. So what I'll do, hello Mr. Blue Jay, and a Blue Jay drive by here. Alright, so we don't care if it mars it up a little bit. It's going to be fine. Which this does have some where you can get on this. Hopefully I don't turn them off. That's what usually happens, is I turn it. You had a vise. I got my pipe wrench backwards here. I hear my dad screaming in my head. There we go. So always put your pipe wrenches opposing each other for it to grip. Now that is metal going into plastic. Don't send it. Just make it really tight. You can always tighten it up a little bit if it's bubbling. But you notice I did put Teflon on this because I cannot send it. So what we're going to do is this reducer should fit in here. If I open it up a little bit. Again, where's my heat? Oh, it is a little chilly today, so it's a little chilly. It's almost June. Why would it be warm? I don't know. Okay. So that goes in there like that. Actually, I don't want that, do I? I've already messed up. I changed plans. So I want this a 90 coming out of the bottom of that tank. So what we'll use is a street elbow right here. They call it that because it's female on this side and male on this side. So again, we don't want to that's not going to work either, huh? Hold please. Okay, I'm back. One good thing about plumbing is there's a couple different ways to get there. So, like I said, we're going to go with this Fernco over that valve. And then I got this 1 by 1.5. It's a slip coupler on the outside, but it fits in there nice and smooth. What I did on the other one is I put a little silicone here, but I don't think I need it. If I do, I can always put it on, so that fits in there nice. Tighten it up. That should be a watertight seal. Alright, and then where's my street elbow? Should fit now. So now we'll go like this and then put our hose barb here so it comes out of the tank and then 90s up so it's not in the way. I'll put a little of the stuff on here just because. Careful not to cross thread. I know I always say that, but it's very easy to cross thread metal into plastic, and once you've done that, it's garbage. Again, this is where a vise would be handy, but you can do it with a couple pipe wrenches. They need to be opposing. See, this is going the same way. They need to be opposing. I don't know why I keep doing that. There we go. Let me fit this in there. And again, we're metal into plastic. Don't send it. There. But again, it'll spin in there if it's not watertight. Now we'll do the hose barb in there. This is metal on metal, so you can send it. Alright, if you think that was painful to watch, you should have been doing it. It was painful to do. Alright, so now what we'll do is, maybe we should put this on before. I'm going to cut a little bit off. Not too much though. Maybe I should just... I want to cut a little bit off because it's going to be in the way. This is going to be like this. So measure your hose. Give yourself a little bit. If you rock it back and forth, it cuts this thick stuff. And again, I will get clamps. Well, that's not tight at all. Huh. Didn't I just tighten that? What's the deal? I'm gonna have to go put this on a vise. I don't know. There we go. All right. Now get it so, turn this so it wants to sit there. You don't want to force it because it's always going to want to bind up on you. So get that there. Again, the more these worm clamps. This is a name brand, so it's not, a knockoff. So the worm clamps are better. Some of the cheap ones you get are, the rubber's thinner and these clamps are junk. But you can tighten these right up. And you'll see it bulging right here past where the threads that normally would thread on here. But we're making the seal with this rubber on rubber. Let me check this one. Or rubber on plastic here. Alright, and I will get a clamp here when I get a clamp. Alright, so you could run it like this, but this is going to vibrate a little bit and you don't want anything coming loose. And it kind of looks like heck, but I'm just gonna zip tie it to here and it'll look a little better, won't vibrate. I'll probably have to get some big boy zip ties because I don't think these are going to hold up to the UV. I got some of those thick ones, but for now, like always, don't do it right. Just get it running and then fix it when it fails, right? I'm getting better about that, but sometimes, so I'm going out of town and I need to get this up and running for my lovely assistant to take care of the plants, and I don't want her stressing about keeping them wet. Okay, so we're good here. This should be ready to go. Minus there's no water in the tank. Over here, we should be ready to go, minus some clamps that I'll go get. And so let's bring the water down to this, but we can't go hog wild. Hopefully must be I did. Can't go hog wild because I want a valve here and I don't have it. I have to get that at the hardware store. So what we have to do now is, as you can, I don't know if you can tell, but our line that our sprinklers are on is a rigid, it's a 3/4 inch gray conduit. And the reason I use gray conduit, if you use the white PVC, the regular PVC, Schedule 40, one, it gets brittle in a greenhouse. Two, it's semi-transparent, believe it or not, on the inside of the pipe, the Schedule 40, so it'll build up algae on the inside of the pipe. And because we need this rigid, I've used black poly for sprinkler line like this, and you can get it nice and straight, especially on a cool day like today. It'll look nice and straight, but as soon as it heats up in here, it'll sag like this, and it'll heat the water up too much, even this far away from the top. So I use gray conduit. It's scheduled 80. It comes with these bell ends, which we put the sprinklers every 10 feet. So you could size your sprinkler heads. You can get bigger and smaller, but I need the overlap in here. So it comes with the bell ends, and this one actually ended with a bell end. So I need to cut that off because we need to make it a male adapter. We're going to switch it back to the black poly, so we have a little bit more flexibility to come do a 90 and then down to our valve. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to cut this bell end off so it flares out here, you know, every 10 feet. So we're going to do this. Always wear your safety glasses. Clean out as much of the plastic, little pieces, the little stuff that you just produced, but this is why we don't put the sprinkler heads in until after we flush the system, because all these little pieces that I didn't get out, it's impossible to get every little one out. We'll plug that little sprinkler head, and then you're going back through and cleaning out sprinkler heads, and it's very frustrating. So we got the traditional, we have to use purple in our area. Whatever you got to use, you got to use. You can't even buy the clear primer anymore, which I don't know. It's not a bad thing. Just make sure you wear gloves, because this stuff stains the heck out of everything. And I'm running low here. You want to do this right, so I do it a little bit on each side, and then I'm a quarter twist guy. You put it on and then do a little quarter twist. Hold it, because it will push it off. It's dripping. You only got to hold it for a couple seconds. And then, oops, hope I didn't mess that up. All right, we'll wait that because I don't want to tighten that hose barb on there. So we'll go get some black poly. We'll let that set. We'll go get some black poly. And I just tape mine together. It's easier. You got to use them together anyways. In a little box, if it comes in a little box, it always disintegrates, so I just tape them together like this. So good news and good news. I found a piece of black poly. It does have a 90, which is cool because I need to put a 90 over here, so we'll probably play that. But the other thing is cool. It has these really nice oversized clamps already on it. He double clamped this bad boy. So what we're going to do is, you guessed it, we're going to take some of these nice free to me clamps and use them over there on the fuel line where we need it. Ideally, I should have gave that the grapes and tightened that before I put that on there. Now I got to get a couple pipe wrenches over my head. I'm going to get a little thing for this. So what I did is I got tired of doing the old school screwdriver. Went and got a nut driver bit for the DeWalt to take these off. It's a fast way to take these clamps off. If you put them on, if you tighten them with this, just be careful not to over tighten. I'm just going to take off the doubles and I'm going to leave, unless I need those. I don't know. So you can see how much faster that is. Get out of my face. And I'm just, an episode of showing you what not to do. Hold that, please. Tighten your hose barb into your male adapter before you glue it on, because now I have to, do this. A couple pipe wrenches up in my teeth area. Which it's not impossible, but just hold, please. Opposing. Like I'm doing it on purpose now. Now you got a lot of torque with these pipe wrenches, so be careful. You don't want this to leak, but you don't want this to break either. So that should be good. You could always tighten that because this blue hose barb will spin inside the black a little bit. Just put that there. I'll probably use one of these good clamps. Wow, there's a little hanger right there. That's cool. Let's see how that's the same size. Not very good. So again, a little heat. Go about 3 inches up the pipe. We'll see if that's enough. You don't want too much because it'll get too malleable. Is that a word? It is today. There goes my heat, sounds like. Yeah. Alright, so that goes right up there. Nice. There's another hanger here. Oh, there's hangers everywhere. I don't know if we're going to want that though. So we'll put one of our free to me clamps on there. Try to do it before it cools down because it'll make a really nice. Just don't strip that out. These, like good ones, it's hard to do, but those cheaper ones, it's real easy to do. So now we need this to bend around to our valve, which if it didn't bend here, we can take the heat a little bit, and then when it cools, it'll stay there. So I think I don't know if we're going to be able to use that hanger, but we'll hook it up. Okay, now we're over here going to hook up the valve, but we don't want to do that right now because we need to get some sort of ball valve or gate valve right here. So I'm just trying to, we won't cut this. I just want to cut it once, and we'll use that as some kind of support up there. And we got to watch that elbow up there. This is some piping and elbow that came with this greenhouse, so it might be a little on the brittle side. If I was doing it the right way, I probably should put a new elbow up there, but worst case, it's going to break someday, and then just spray a little water. So okay, I think we're ready to do a parts run. Ooh. I think we're ready to do a parts run. I'll make a little mental note, which is always terrible. And because we need a gate valve, hopefully I can get a threaded gate valve, and possibly another hose barb. Huh. When you're buying fittings like that, buy extra. I usually do. That's why I have usually enough for the next project, but not quite. I'm always missing something, so I'll need one, so I'll buy 3, and then, you know, I'll have enough of those for the next project, but missing something else. So, off to the hardware store. Okay, I'm back with the ball valve, and I put some threaded closed nipples on there so we can adjust it. So we'll turn it on this valve. Again, metal on plastic. Be careful, careful, careful. Okay, how about that? I might not need that. I might want a hose barb there, huh? Alright, a little hose barb here. And I know I told you I wasn't going to change that, but I don't know. Driving to the hardware store, if that blew, well, you know, I could have just changed it. I think I'm just going to change it. So, we'll cut that off. Put a new one in there. That'd be a little easier to work with here too. I won't cut that yet. Need that, need that, need that. Okay, I think where I am, that kind of level, maybe coming down just a little bit. Okay. Need some heat. Where is my heat? Heat it up just a skosh. Not too much. Put it on while it's still hot. Then crimp it down while it's still hot. You'll get a very good tight watertight seal. Tight water, tight seal. That's a lot of tight water. There we go. Nice. Check the height. Should be good. Does it matter if it goes up a little bit? You can always cut it down a little bit. Maybe for the sake of winterizing, I'll have it pointing down a little bit. That might be a good idea, huh? On here. All right. If we don't watch out, we're gonna make it look like we know what we're doing here. Again, watch the plastic. That definitely would go on the wall of shame. Get it turned where you want it. Clampy clamp. You could wait and clamp everything at the same time, but I like to do it while it's still warm. I don't know if I have to. Might want to cut that off a little bit, huh? Can't tell. I'll cut this off just a little bit. Watch your fingers. Now this is all pipe I got when I bought this house, which is, well, that went out really super easy. It has little shoulders on these blue fittings. I don't know if these blue fittings are everywhere, but these are kind of nice. Just realized you guys are kind of looking at my stomach. Nobody wants to see that. Crimp while it's warm. All right, so we're gonna want to support this. We'll put a little piece of 2x here and then a clamp, because this is going to want to do this, and we don't want any of this vibrating that much, and we'll have to secure up there too. But let's get a piece of something there. All right, sometimes it helps to start the screws down here on a regular surface. So I'll get these started. I'm all that. Huh. Cool. The other day I was working with this microphone and I touched my chin and I thought it was something crawling on me. I freaked out. Alright, so that's good. Just need to support it up there somehow. Hopefully by supporting the end of the conduit, that should be good to go. So like I showed you before, these clamps, there was all double clamped on there, and it might seem wasteful now because these things are like $3 a piece, but back 25 years ago when the guy put it together, it was normal to put double clamps on something that you did not want blowing out. But now you'd never do that just because these clamps are stupid expensive, and most people use those crimp clamps now. So that should be good. Anyways, I found an old controller. Looks pretty rough on the outside, but it's all bleached from the sun. And then I opened it up and it's kind of used to be a mouse nest, looks like. Still is. I don't know. I think I'll save on that. Install this new one. Wish it didn't have keys, because I'll know I'll lose them. Looks like it's got our battery backup. Okay. How do you mount it? Oh, looks like you put one. Now where to mount it? Now ideally I would have this long enough so I could, guess I could put it down here. That would be cool. But I kind of wanted it all up here where I can, up here. But my cord's not long enough. I guess I could put a surge protector there. Or I could put it down here. I kind of don't like that there though. Guess I'll put it up here and put a surge protector down. I'll put this over here because we will add more valves here. And then I'll hide the cord behind here and hide these wires behind there. That'd be kind of cool. But it comes in, or I'll come down here and then come up, which that's also cool. Yeah, so I'll put this here. When I put the power there, I was just thinking about getting the pump. You don't want to run a pump on an extension cord. But this little thing doesn't matter. And I'm gonna want this nice and level. See, it's got little deals in there that you can just screw it right into the wall. I was just getting it started. Don't worry, I wasn't gonna put it there like that. That would drive me nuts. You know, so we'll level it. Don't send it, it's plastic. Okay. All right, cool. So now we got that. Cool. We'll hide this behind here. Or just do this. That don't look bad, does it? And then just get a cord over here, or a surge protector. I'll put a surge protector there. And it should be a common and then a control, as far as the wiring goes. Yeah, that's good. Here's the zones 1 through 4. Common. It also has spots for water sensors. I'm going to look into that. A rain sensor, so it's not kicking on when it doesn't have to. But you know, in a greenhouse, we should be able to control the moisture just by the temperature and all that good stuff. But moisture sensor would be nice. I just don't know how much they are. The one I used to have was not very dependable, but that was like 15 years ago. So I'm sure they've better. I don't know how that works. Oh, comes in the bottom. All right. We'll have to get some wire that controller up, but in the meantime, let's get our sprinklers all set. All right, so every one of these supports or hangers needs something different. Some of them, the all thread is crooked or bent or whatever, or these are all seized up. I just took the time to wire them up to get the irrigation line up in the air that I can mess with it. My wife helped me put it up so that that's too big, but so I can mess with it up. I know I would have broke it because we put it all together, you know, 76 feet of it together and then raised it. Otherwise I'd be doing like this with glue in my face and all that, and I didn't want to do that. So now I've got to go back through and change out the hangers to the correct hangers, because we don't want this thing trying to twist. And these are the where are they? So the sprinkler heads we're using are called wobblers. So you guessed it, they wobble. And the reason they do that, wobble like this, so they can distribute the water more of a natural rainfall pattern, I guess you'd call it. Because the impact sprinklers, you know, they go they wouldn't work in here. I want it overhead, so you need to get these inverted. They make these to go up straight like that too, but there's a difference far as the wobbling and all that stuff. But there's a difference. So make sure you're getting the inverted ones if you want them upside down like this. So we need to get this so it doesn't want to do this too much. It's going to move a little bit, but we need these, you know, level. You don't want them like this because one, they don't cover as good, and it's going to get really wet on this side and not as wet on this side, and you're going to have wet spots and dry spots. So we need to get these here, get this clamped down as much as possible. I might have to get some tape to give it some friction from doing this, and that's what we're going to do. All right, I'm back. Just trying to get the right tools. Yep, I got the old tool belt on. Maybe I can get a little bit more efficient. This would be cool if this wasn't rusted shut. Oh, nice. So try not to work over your head like this so stuff goes in your eyes and stuff. And ooh. All right, so I don't know how tight this is going to grab on. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape around that just to give it a little more bite. Because right now it seems fine, but with the vibration, constant vibration, and the heat and all the good stuff, I'm just going to put it right where that clamp wants to set. And it will protect it a little bit from vibrating, wearing through there, but you know, this is Schedule 80, so. If it gets too cumbersome, I'll get my drill out and feel the forearm burn, that's for sure. There, that should be good. All right, so that support's good. I don't know if we're gonna need one further back. We'll see how it runs. That's something we can add on. As I go down through here, I just wanted to fix this and add the wobblers. So each sprinkler we did is 3/4 inch conduit. We went through that. I used the Schedule 40 fittings just because I had them. And then we go to a female, and then we have to go to reducer to get down. These are 1/2 inch threads, and this up here is not. Yeah, it's 3/4. So I'll just snug this up, and you know, it's okay that this has a little drip or something, because any drip is going to be dripping down on this pan that's going like this, wobbling and going crazy, so it's going to get spread out and there won't be a puddle right between. And once it's off, this all drains out of water. So, and these just not too loose, but you don't have to send it. It's got the little wing nut on it, so you can do it by hand, because what will happen is every so often, even with filters on there, it's about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch maybe, the hole in there, that will get plugged up with something. At my garden center back in the day, I used to get little minnows stuck in there. I'd say, what's going on? And I'd go there and I'd pull out little, we call them shiners, just little teeny tiny minnows, which is weird. So this one happens to be bent a little bit, so I'll straighten that professionally. But this strap is actually the wrong size. It's more for a 1 inch. And if we were just hanging stuff, it's no big deal. But we want these things to clamp on, so we have a bunch of these 3/4 straps. I don't know if that's the right word for these, but this is for 1 inch pipe, so it won't clamp down tight enough for me. So we're going to replace it with a 3/4 and then continue on with the same process. I'm going to pay attention to make sure these guys are as vertical, plumb, I guess you call it, like this as possible, because it already seems like it wants to turn a little bit, so that means I got to turn that. So I'll go back to that one, turn that, adjust it, and then go right down through. Here's what we have so far. We have the pump, filter, valve, controller going to the sprinkler heads. Should be all set. do a little wiring. We should be good. A mini progress report. Got a little forest going here. They look good. Gonna be some thinning out here, obviously. Alright, so that's today's attempt to do something right or wrong or get something done. Thanks for joining me on I Know Enough to Be Dangerous Farm. Take care.